Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another money grind method. This time it is another glitch build. This time thanks to Rocky, who found this one and improved it massively over the last month. The guy's an absolute machine in terms of finding glitch builds, so I'll have him linked down in the description and in the pinned comment below. So go ahead and check him out and tell him that I sent him over. And give him a massive thank you really for the builds that he does produce, because he's absolutely awesome at finding these different glitched cars. So the car we're going to be using today is, well, obviously the Aston Martin DB11. If you want to buy this, you want to head over into Europe, head over into the United Kingdom and Aston Martin. Once you're in there, go to the showroom and it's the second car in, the DB11 from 2016, coming in at a reasonable 238,000 credits. If you've been building these cars along with me for the last week, then you should have plenty spare to go ahead and pick this one up. In all honesty, I'd very much compare it to the AMG Black Series, just in terms of its stability and speed. So the one thing you want to make sure that you've got is a wide body on this car. It should cost you around about 50,000 credits or around that kind of area, so not too expensive. In terms of the wheels, they're a little bit different for this one. So what you want to make sure is that you've got any non-standard wheels on. I've just gone for a straight copy of the Rocky wheels, so it's the RA040s. You want to make sure they are the standard size with the standard rim width. However, you want to make sure the offset is set to wide. Now, in terms of your aero parts, you want to head over into the front and put on the Type A bumper. That is the front aero. At the side, it's only going to give you Type A, so go ahead and pop that one on. The rear, not available. And then in terms of the wing, you want to make sure you've got a custom wing. It's completely up to you which size. In terms of the parts that you need, you want to get the weight reduction stage 1 and the sports soft from the sports category of the tuning shop. Next, we're going to go into club sports, and you want to ensure you've got bore up, high lift camshaft, weight reduction stage 2, and then you can completely ignore the power restrictor and ballast. You are not going to be nerfing this car. Racing crankshaft next, fully customizable computer and a high RPM turbocharger, as well as a fully customizable LSD, weight reduction stage 3 and increased body rigidity. From the racing category, you want to go ahead and pick up stroke up, engine balance tuning, polished ports, and then down here you want to pick up racing intercooler, racing air filter and the racing silencer. After that, from the level lower, you want to pick up the racing exhaust manifold, the racing brake pads, where I'm not going to be putting discs on this one, so do not buy them. And then it's the fully customizable suspension, racing clutch and flywheel, and then in the next bit it's going to be extreme for the intermediate tires. Again, as usual, this build can run on sports soft and intermediate tyres. Inters are a little bit slower, but definitely a lot less sketchy early on. So as you can see, I'm just going to show you proof that both the sports soft and the inters do not change the performance points once you've got it set. So go ahead and just pick whichever one you prefer. Now, in terms of the suspension, it's the fully customizable. We have a body height at the front of 105 and at the rear it's 107. Anti-roll bar is 10 across the board. Same with compression, that's going to be 40 across, and expansion is going to be 50 across as well. Natural frequency at the front is going to be 320, so that's the maximum to the right, and 335 at the rear, which again is the maximum to the right. Negative camber angle at the front is 0, with the rear at 2.2. In terms of the toe angle, it's 0 at the front and 0.05 inwards at the rear, so just slightly up a little bit. Fully customizable differential, all set to minimum values at 5, but you can play around with the suspension and diff if you really want to. Normal transmission, no ballast or anything like that. We do have the fully customizable ECU. And then in terms of downforce, it's 180 at the front and 209 at the rear. Next up, we'll go through the parts that you need to ensure that you've got on. It's the high RPM turbocharger, racing intercooler, racing air cleaner, and then the usual. So you've got the racing silencer, racing exhaust manifold, normal brake system, but racing brake pads. And then up here, we'll have the racing clutch and flywheel with all your perma mods such as bore up, stroke up, engine balance tuning, polished ports, camshafts, and a racing crankshaft, as well as all of the weight reductions and that increased body rigidity. Feel free to pause at any moment and go through the sheet just to ensure that your settings match up. Anything slightly out and it will not drop below 600. So obviously with this being a below 600 build, you're going to head over into Asia. Then you want to go over here to Tokyo Expressway in Japan. Click on that one and go over to the right to the World Touring Car 600, which is a 12-lap event for 550,000 credits. Just go ahead and enter that event. So in terms of this build itself, I'd definitely say it's on par with, if not better for me personally, than the Mercedes AMG Black Series. It definitely has a lot more stability, and in fact the run I'm going to show you was actually my worst run of the 3 I've currently done. This was my initial run with this car, and in all honesty I completely botched the strategy and lost my clean race bonus, all down to my own stupid fault, to be quite honest. So in terms of actually running this build, I will take you through the best, more kind of optimum way of running the strategy for this car, and then I'll also show you my completely botched run as well, to basically just show you that even if you do get a bad run, you should be setting a very, very quick overall time. Average lap time for this car, in all honesty, ranges from 1 minute 50 to about 1 minute 55. When the tyre wear does kick in, it's going to become a little bit more sketchy. However, this is where I much prefer it over the Mercedes, because even when the tyres drop off, it's definitely much more manageable. So let's go into the worst of my 3 runs, which was my initial run actually running this car. And the way you want to run it is leave it in fuel mix 1 the entire time. You do not need to go and change your fuel mode. You don't need to go up, you don't need to go down. Obviously, well, you can't go up past 1, but you get my drift anyway. Now, in terms of the run to turn 1, you want to ensure that you just absolutely belt it out of the gate, overtake all the AI, and just be careful that you don't touch them. At this point, you just want to head over to the left barrier and just let the barrier take you. You will need to be running manual. If you don't kind of get the gears to drop or run in auto, there is a chance that the kind of wet bits, wet patch on the side of the track can spin you, like you can see there. Just absolutely, you know, a ton of power in this car, nearly 900 brake horsepower, so it is a bit of a brute. However, I do much prefer the handling on this car to a lot of the glitch builds, and in all honesty, this is definitely the fastest overall for me personally, even compared to the AMG Black Series, that I think just kind of gets a bit less manageable than the DB11 in terms of its tyre wear once that starts to kick in. So in reality, you just want to ride the barriers completely. At the end of the day, you are playing the single player portion of the game. Who cares? If this was multiplayer, I'd be completely against it. However, at the end of the day, you're just trying to be as quick as you can whilst grinding money. So in all honesty, who really cares how you run this event? It's completely your choice. You can run it clean if you want to, which will be slower, or you can just run it by just going over the barriers. You won't lose your clean race bonus. However, I will note that in terms of losing that clean race bonus, there is 2 ways to do it here. So one is hitting the AI, so just be extra careful whether you're lapping them or you're on the opening run down to turn 1. And just here at the final hairpin can be an absolute nightmare. In fact, I will keep the footage in where I lost my clean race bonus on this run and absolutely botched the entire thing. Just to prove to you that if you are not careful, yes, you will lose that clean race bonus. And for those of you that ask, look, this event only pays that 550,000, how are you getting 825k? That is because you are aiming for the clean race bonus. Repeating that over and over again does allow you to get a pretty damn good maximum potential in terms of, you know, overall credits per hour, or just over. So as usual, in terms of lap 4, this is when the track gets into its more dry conditions and your lap times will absolutely plummet. As you can see, even in the wet conditions on the inters, we're setting on average a 1 minute 54. So in terms of your first actual pit stop, you want to keep it at fuel mix 1 and actually box in at the end of lap 5. This is the optimum time to pit. It's completely before your tyres drop off. However, me being me on this run and me showing you my worst possible run, just to show you how quick this thing actually is, boxed on the end of lap 6. I do not recommend that. Do it at the end of lap 5. However, do the exact same I'm doing here. Put a new set of inters on and fill the car all the way to its maximum fuel capacity. At this point, again, you're just going to continue running around in fuel mix 1 and basically do a big sprint until around about lap 9, in which case you will have to change your tyres yet again. So now I'm going to show you where I lost my clean race bonus. As you can see, I just completely overshot it, and if you go over any of the lines, whether it be inside or outside, or touch those cones, you will lose that clean race bonus. So just take your time there. You want to do your second pit stop at the end of lap 9. I didn't. I did it at the end of lap 10. Like I said, this is a completely botched run. And then obviously you want to just do the exact same I'm doing here. So put a new set of inters on, put a bit extra fuel in than the notch actually tells you. It does lie to you. You will probably use a bit more fuel, so just ensure that you basically just put a little bit extra in, and then this will give you enough to go to the end. So there you go. It is a 2-stop strategy, one on lap 5, one at the end of lap 9, job done. So there you go. This is my worst possible run, and we still got it well within that 24-minute barrier, which is very, very quick for a really, really poor run overall and a completely mishap strategy. So we did a 24.23 even on a completely bad strat. In terms of our fastest lap, it was a 153.297 done on lap 12. However, we did hit traffic during that lap, so there definitely is a lot of, a couple of seconds minimum to go ahead and sort of knock off of that, in terms of maybe a 151, low 152 even on the inters in dry conditions, which is, very, very quick. So there we have it. A massive thank you to Rocky for this build. It's absolutely incredible. In my opinion, I do prefer it over the AMG Black Series, just for the kind of way it handles when it is on its kind of used tires and such. It is much more comfortable to drive. I feel like the AMG Black Series, whilst it's incredibly quick, as soon as those tires drop off, you really do know about it. And for me, this one is just a very, very stable and very, very comfortable build to use. So not many of you should have problems driving this car. Massive thank you to everyone that has been supporting the channel recently. It's been absolutely incredible. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn those notifications on so you don't miss an upload from me. I upload GT7 content and everything really motorsport related each and every day for your viewing pleasure. Thank you to my sponsors, the Controller People and Poggers, for their continued support. Check out the Discord, Twitter and all that in the description down below, as well as Rocky in there. And I'll see you later on, guys. Peace.